You've probably felt this before. You read the books, you follow the teachers, you collect every answer you can find. And yet, after all that gathering, you still feel a profound lack of resolution. In a remote mountain monastery, there lived a young monk named Kieran. He arrived when he was only 12 years old and had spent the next 9 years immersing himself in study. Among his peers, Kieran had a very specific reputation. He wasn't known for his kindness or for his inner stillness. He was known entirely for his encyclopedic memory. If you asked him about the nature of the mind, he had 20 different explanations ready to go. The teachers praised him. The younger monks constantly sought his advice. This steady stream of external validation created a false positive, leading Kieran to believe he was finally closing in on true enlightenment. But his daytime confidence didn't survive the night. When the monastery went quiet, he felt full. Not satisfied, but full in the exact way a room feels when it is packed floor to ceiling with old furniture, leaving almost no physical space to move. He would sit down to practice his meditation, and the mechanics of it would simply fail. Old arguments he had won, answers he had dispensed, and the words of dead masters actively crowded out the silence. To fix this, he tried what he knew best. He sat for longer hours, he read more scrolls. He even went to other monks to collect their advice on the matter, attempting to solve the problem by gathering even more data. None of it worked. Peace remained out of reach, because adding new information is the exact opposite of what you need to do when a system is already operating over its capacity. One morning, in the bright, natural light of the courtyard, an elder named Master Shen crossed paths with Kieran. Shen stopped, observing the younger monk for a long moment. Then he asked one disruptive question. He asked Kieran to identify a single piece of knowledge that he had generated on his own, something completely distinct from any book or any teacher. Kieran's reflex was immediate. He reached into his memory for a pre-packaged answer, exactly as he had done 1,000 times before. But his hand found nothing. Internal panic set in as he realized there were many voices inside his head, and not one of them belonged to him. For the first time in 9 years, Kieran was rendered entirely speechless. Without his text to lean on, his borrowed wisdom collapsed under pressure. Later that afternoon, Kieran found Master Shen at the water well behind the garden, engaged in a routine, mundane chore. 2 clay pots rested on the flat stone beside the well. One was completely empty. The other had been sitting under a slow drip for hours, filled to the absolute maximum limit. Shen didn't look up. He picked up his pail and poured fresh water into the empty pot. The physics were seamless and quiet. The pot had the capacity to receive, and the water flowed right in. Then Shen moved the pail over the full pot. The moment the new water hit the surface, it was violently rejected. It cascaded down the outside of the clay and gathered in a dark pool on the stone. Not a single drop made it inside. Shen set the pail down and remained deliberately silent. He forced Kieran to stand there, watch the spilling water, and deduce the lesson himself. Finally, Shen pointed to the empty pot. He noted that it successfully received everything it was given, precisely because it had the physical space to do so. Then he pointed to the overflowing clay. The full vessel receives absolutely nothing. Without internal space, any new input, no matter how valuable or fresh, is completely wasted. Kieran stared at the water moving in thin lines down the clay. He internalized the physical demonstration instantly, seeing his own 9 years of hoarding words reflected in that overflowing pot. But he hesitated. He asked Master Shen how a person actually uncleased their mind, voicing his central fear. If he let go, would all his hard-earned learning be permanently destroyed? To answer, Master Shen picked up the full pot, walked to the garden's edge, and poured the water onto the dark, soft soil. He then held the empty clay back under the well, letting a slow, clean stream enter it until its utility was fully restored. Shen explained the physical reality of what just happened. The old water wasn't wrong, and it wasn't lost. It had simply returned to the earth. Emptying a vessel is required to make room for the present. It doesn't erase the past, it recycles it. Shen placed the empty, physically light pot into Kieran's hands. Kieran sat down at the base of the garden wall, immersed in the quiet, natural sounds of the branches above him. He didn't search his memory for a teaching or scramble for the right words. He simply allowed his mind to mirror the physical properties of the empty pot in his hands, open, still, waiting. As he sat there, an original, quiet understanding emerged organically. It was an insight that formed totally independent of his collected texts. A mind filled to the brim with answers is merely crowded. True wisdom requires the active cultivation of internal space. You don't always need more to grow. Sometimes you just need room. Are you choosing to empty your own crowded mind today? Write about your experience making space in the comments below. And if this story brought you some room to breathe, please like and share it so it can reach someone else carrying too much.